Yes, Fatima, Assalamu alaikum. How are you? I guess you can see the screen. Okay. Fatima, very busy in something.
No, sir, I had network issues. That's why.
Okay. Yeah, just a minute. Okay. So, in the previous class, we had learned about these things. We learned about sexual reproduction in the plants. We did learn about different types of flowers as well. Okay, now there was one important topic that we will be discussing in today's class. That is there's a term called as whirl of a flower. Whirls of the flower. Okay, now. So let us understand that what this term basically means. Okay, now. So whirl of the flower basically will be referring to the different parts of the flower. Like for example, it will refer to the colorful parts of the flower, like the petals, or it will refer to the leaf-like structure called as the sepals. The green leaf-like structure called as sepals. Okay, so the group of the petals that is called as group of the sepals will be called as calyx. As you can see here, hope I guess I think you can see this sepals over here in this image. It is visible. So the group of the sepal is called as calyx. Group of sepals is called as calyx, and the male part of the flower is called as androecium. The male part will be male organ of the flower, or the male part of the flower is also called as androecium, while the female part of the flower is called as gynoecium. Getting it now? And the group of the petals will be called as corolla. Group of petals is together called as calyx, and the group of the sepals together is called as calyx. Group of sepals is called as calyx, while group of petal is called as corolla. These are some of the terms these are the terms which are using for the group of the petals and group of the sepals. And for the male reproductive organ, it is also called as androecium. Male reproductive part of the flower is also called as androecium, while as for the female reproductive part of the flower, that is being called as gynoecium. So whorl of the flower will be basically referring to the circular arrangement of these different parts of the flower. Getting it now? All these parts of the flower are arranged in the circular manner, isn't it? Yes, Fatima?
Yes, sir.
All these are arranged in a circular manner, not in a square form or not in other shapes. So all these parts, respectively, the male part or the female part or the petals and sepals, all of them are attached, all of them are arranged in a circular pattern. So that is called as the whorl of a flower. Getting it now?
Yes.
So whorl of a flower is Razan. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? We're still connecting to the audio. Why everyone is joining so late into this class? Razan, she's also late. As for you, I can understand you there was some network issue. So whorl of a flower refers to the circular arrangement of different parts of a flower. Different parts of the flower. Getting it? And these are the different parts of the world of these are the different parts of the flower. Together, together the male reproductive part is called as the androecium. The female reproductive part is also called as gynoecium. Group of petals, there can be 5 petals, there can be 6 petals. Right now, different flowers have different numbers of petals. You might have observed this, right, Fatima and Razan? So that is called as corolla. And the group of sepals, if there are 3 sepals, 4 or 6, right? So that will be called as calyx. Razan, why you have joined so late? Try to join the class on given time now. By the way, both of you turn your cameras on in the class. So right now we were learning about the whorls of a flower. So whorls of the flower basically refers to the circular arrangement of the petals, of the sepals, of the male reproductive organ and the female reproductive organ. All of them are arranged in a circular fashion. In a circular manner they are arranged. Is that thing clear to both of you or not? Please let me know. Yes, this whorl of the flower, is this clear? So it
Sir,
is basically.
can you repeat again? I was not there.
So I was saying that whorl of a flower basically it will refer to the circular arrangement of different parts of a flower. Like petals, they are arranged in a circular manner. Now, take a look at this diagram here. They are arranged in a circular manner, right? Petals are arranged in a circular manner. Or if you were to look at the sepals also, look at this one. So these sepals, they are also arranged in a circular manner. The male reproductive organ, it is not visible in this one, but when you take a look at the 3D image here, like in this one, you can observe that it is arranged in a circular manner. So every part of the flower is arranged in a circular manner. So that is called as the whorl of a flower. Got this? So we had learned about pollination. We had learned about different types of pollination, namely self-pollination and cross-pollination. We had learned about that. We did also learn about the pollinating agents. Okay, now what are the pollinating agents? We had learned about that as well. Okay. Also, we did learn about some of the plants in which pollination will occur via water. It will occur in water, right? So those plants that will undergo pollination by water, so they have the following characteristics, right? The pollen grain of those plants will be very lightweight. It will not get wet. It will not become wet in water. Getting what I'm trying to say? Because if it were to become wet, it will be rotting. It will be spoiled. So the pollen grains of these plants, like for example, this tape grass, or scientific name of tape grass is Vallisneria or Hydrilla. These plants would be producing unwettable pollen grains. You might have seen, for example, unwettable substances. For example, certain clothing materials will not easily get wet. Certain substances, water will not be sticking on it. So that is what unwettable substances. These pollen grains are unwettable. So thereby they will not be getting spoiled by the water. Okay, now because if something is put into the water, after some time, that thing will start to rot, will start to spoil. So that is an important characteristic of the pollen grain of the Vallisneria and the Hydrilla, that they are unwettable. Okay. Furthermore, the pollen grains will be surrounded by a waxy coating. There will be waxy coating on it, right? Now, just for example, if you were to apply a layer of oil on something or apply a coating of wax on something, will the water stick on it?
No, sir.
No. So that is what the second statement is saying, that pollen grains, they are surrounded by a special covering. Okay. Further, they are long, they are sticky, and their stigma is long, sticky, and unwettable. The stigma that we are seeing here, look at the stigma of this flower. So it is long and it is sticky and unwettable. Yes, Razan?
How can we know that if a flower is a male or a female?
Yeah, we will know by looking at the parts present in the flower. We will identify it. Like if take for example this flower. In this flower, we will identify that anther will be present. Inside the anther, pollen grain will be present. So anther, pollen grain, it is present in the male flower now. If it's a male flower, so it will be having only these two parts now. It will not be having the female reproductive organ. It will not have stigma. It will not have a stigma or other parts like ovary or style in it. Getting it now?
Yes.
Or we can identify that it is a female flower by looking at the stigma, because the stigma is present in a female flower. Okay. So in the case of the Vallisneria, there will be a male plant and there will be a female plant. This one you guys are seeing, this is the male plant. Another one is the female plant. Okay, now. So female flower of the female plant and the flower of the male plant, respectively, the female flower and the male flower, it will float on the water, right? And due to the movement of the water, when these two flowers will come in contact, so thereby pollen grain from the anther of the male flower will go where? It will go into the stigma of the female flower, isn't it, Fatima and Razan? Right. So that's how
Yes, sir.
pollination will take place in this. So this happens in Vallisneria in Hydrilla. Those were some special cases. We did also learn about pollinating agents. Okay, we have learned about that. Also, these pollinating agents like flies, like butterfly, bees, bat, etc. So they are because like their population is decreasing. So the pollinating animals particularly, they are facing threat because of the loss of their habitat. Their home is being destroyed. Their habitat is being destroyed. So thereby they are under threat. Also, we use certain kind of chemicals in order to kill the pest, kill the insects. So that is another threat from them. They due to some disease also, those pollinating animals will be dying, or they might be um, in under threat due to some parasites as well. So these pollinating animals that we are seeing here, like the bees or the butterfly, different kind of birds, bat, flies, and cricket, they are under threat. Their population is, if it is decreasing, and thereby it will be causing disturbance in pollination as well, because they are important for pollination now. So that's why there's a concept called as pollinator loss. So seed dispersal, we will be learning about it later on. But right now we are going to learn about fertilization in the flower. Okay, now. So let us understand what happens in fertilization. Okay. So for fertilization to take place in the plant, first step is pollination, which we have learned about how pollination occurs, what happens in this. In this, basically, there will be transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma. Right now, where is the anther present? In the male part or the male plant, or in the female flower? I mean to say,
Male plant.
right? The male part of the flower. I mean to say, and the stigma is present in the female part of the flower. So pollen grain will be transferring from the male part of the flower, that is anther, to the stigma. We also have learned that it can occur in two ways, respectively self pollination and cross pollination. Now we will be learning about what will happen once the pollen grain will be falling on the stigma. Okay, so once the pollen grain will land on the compatible stigma, meaning on the right stigma, consider that this is a hibiscus flower, right? So anther, I mean to say, the pollen grain should be landing on the stigma of the hibiscus flower only. Then only fertilization will take place. Now, if it were to land on any other flower, then fertilization will not take place.
Sir, this chapter is reproduction in plants, right?
Exactly, reproduction in plants. That's what we're doing now. So first of all, what will happen? Pollen grain will land on the compatible stigma. You're getting both of you. Why I'm saying compatible stigma, right? Stigma of the right type of the same species. Okay. So once the pollen grain will land on the stigma, on the compatible stigma, what it will do? It will start absorbing moisture and nutrients from this stigma. So in step number 1, pollination has already happened. In step number 2, let us understand what is going to happen. In step number 2, step number 1 was pollination has taken place. Step number 2, here pollen grain will germinate. Germination of pollen grain takes place. Here's how it happens. So that say that this is the stigma, and on this stigma the pollen grain has landed. Okay, now the pollen grain has landed. Now the pollen grain, what it will do now? It will start obtaining moisture and nutrition from where? Yes. So pollen grain will absorb the moisture and nutrients from the stigma. Got this, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Absorbs moisture and nutrients from the stigma. So once it will absorb moisture and nutrients, the pollen grain will now start to germinate. It will start to germinate. Germination will take place, and it will form a tube-like structure called as pollen tube. What it will do? It will form a tube-like structure, and this tube-like structure we are calling this as the pollen tube. So that here is the pollen tube forms. Okay. Now, as the pollen tube will be forming here, as the pollen tube will be forming, it will go down further into the style. This is the style, as we know. What do we call this? That's the style. The top swollen portion is the stigma. This is style, and this is the ovary. So it will travel down through the style, and it will be going towards the ovary. As you can, guys can see this in image number B. You can see the pollen tube has traveled all the way to the ovary. It has gone inside, and it is going towards the ovary, right? Okay, no. Also, the pollen. Yes. Yes, Rizan, you saying something? Or Fatima?
No, sir.
Okay. Also, what am I saying that? Hey, there's some background noise. Kindly mute yourself. Okay. See, both of you pay attention here. The pollen tube, as it will be growing through the style, and as it will be entering into the ovary, so this pollen tube, it will be carrying 2 sperm cells towards the ovule inside this. What it will do now? It will be carrying 2 sperm cells. Basically, the male gametes will be carried by it now. What it will do, guys? It will be carrying 2 male gametes, or the 2 sperm cells will be carried by this. So it will be carrying the pollen tube. Pollen tube will carry pollen grains towards the ovary. Further, I said that pollen grain contains 2 male gametes. What is the male gamete here? Is it the ovum or the sperm? Yes, Fatima. Razan, where did you went?
The sperm.
Sperm, no? So it will carry how many? 2 sperm cells will be carried by this, okay? Razan, pay attention here. Where did you went? So pollen grain will be containing 2 male gametes, as will be traveling down into the style, and as it will be going to the ovum, inside the ovary. So it will be containing two sperm cells in it. Okay. Now, as it will go inside the ovary, so inside the ovary, you have the female gamete. What is it? This is the female gamete. And what is this structure? This one here?
Male
Exactly.
gamete.
So that here is the male gamete. This one is the male gamete, and this one is the female gamete. Female gamete basically ovum, and the male gamete is sperm. And both of them are fusing together. Fusion is taking place here, right now. So fusion of the male and the female gamete, respectively, fusion of ovum and sperm is taking place here. So inside this ovary, what has happened here? The male gamete is fusing with the female gamete, right? And it is present inside this sac. You can see this area, this region. Let me highlight this. This sac is called as embryo. Embryo sac. What do we call this?
Embryo sac.
Embryo sac. So you can think of this. This is like a bag-like structure inside which all this is happening. Inside which all this is happening. Okay. So here now the fertilization has taken place. The fusion of the male and gamete cells will take place. After fusion, what will happen? A new cell called as zygote will be formed. After fusion, new cell called as zygote will be formed. So after fusion, a new cell called as zygote is formed here. Zygote is formed here, right? And this is the first cell of the new plant. Okay, now
What is zygote?
zygote is the cell formed after fusion of the sperm and the ovum. As we can see here, we have the sperm and the ovum. This is the ovum, and the another one is the sperm. Both of them are fusing together. And due to the fusion of these two cells, a new cell called as zygote will be formed. Getting it now? Also, take a look at this animation. As the pollen grain lands onto the stigma, so it forms a pollen tube. And the pollen tube will be carrying the pollen grain towards the ovary. And as it will be going inside the ovary, it will be fusing with the ovum. So here the fusion of the ovum takes place. And there can be several ovum present inside the ovary, not just one. Getting it, both of you? There can be several eggs or the ovum present inside the ovary. So here it has fertilized the ovum. Fertilization has taken place. So far, it should be clear, I suppose. If there's any slightest doubt in this, please get it cleared. Both of you, please let me know if this is... Yes?
Can I go drink water?
Okay, okay. But be back quickly. Razan, tell me any questions on this?
No, sir. Please.
So let us sum it up what has happened here so far. First step is pollination, where what will happen? The pollen grain will land from the anther of the flower to the stigma of the flower. As it will be landing on the stigma of the flower, pay attention here, Razan, look over here. So germination will take place now. How the pollen grain will germinate? It will absorb moisture and nutrient from the stigma. Getting it? As it will be getting moisture and nutrient from the stigma, then a pollen tube will grow from it. And in this pollen tube now, the pollen grain will be traveling further. The pollen grain will not travel inside this. And as it will be traveling through the style, it will go inside the ovary. And what is present inside the ovary? The female gamete. The female gamete is present, that is ovum now. So here the male gamete has reached. Male gamete is, by the way, present inside the
Sir,
pollen.
1 minute.
Yes.
Sir.
Okay, okay. Fatima, you're back in the class? Yes, you guys back in the class or not? Yeah. So what you were saying that inside this, what has happened here? The fertilization has taken place here, right? Fertilization has taken place. So after fertilization, let us understand what will happen. After fertilization, what will happen? So as fertilization has taken place here, inside the ovule, the fertilization has taken place here. Okay. So inside the ovule, as the fertilization has taken place, zygote will be formed. And after fertilization, the zygote will develop into an embryo. So after fertilization, zygote develops into embryo. It will grow a little bit bigger in size. Okay, now so embryo, you can understand this as the young plant. Embryo, you can understand this as a very young plant. Okay, that is one thing. And as for the ovule, so ovule here will be transforming into the seed. Is that thing clear what I'm trying to say? The ovule will be transferring into the seed, right? You guys, I suppose you guys haven't forgotten about the ovule. Yes.
No.
Yeah. So ovule will, hmm, so ovule will transform into the seed over here. So ovule transforms into seed, right? That is one thing. Further, what will happen as the ovule will be transferring into the seed? What about the ovary? Ovary will become the fruit. So ovule transforms into seed, and ovary converts to fruit, and it will protect the seed. It will protect the seed. So when you eat a fruit, where is the seed present? It is present inside the fruit now. So fruit is kind of protecting that seed. If the seed were to be outside of the plant or outside of the fruit, it will not be safe. Getting it, guys? So fruit is kind of actually protecting the seed. Got this now? That is one thing. And this fruit, further, this fruit will help in the dispersal of the seed also. We'll be learning about dispersal of seed later on. Okay. So hope this much should be clear to everyone what we have learned over here. If there's any question in this, please let me know.
What is that and ovary converts to fruit and 7?
Repeat again, repeat again.
Ovule transforms into seed and ovary converts to fruit
And it will protect the seed. And it will protect the seed. Fatima and Razan, both of you understood the process of fertilization in plants, how it happens, right? Okay, so that is the case. Also, this embryo sac basically that you're seeing here, this is this embryo sac which you're seeing over here, which is basically the ovule. Okay, now. So let me put the screenshots here, and then we'll be continuing further.
So what do we usually do if we complete all the chapters?
Yeah, once all the chapters will be completed, so after that, what we'll be doing now? Whatever chapters you guys might have missed, like whatever chapters or whatever topics you guys have missed, you will be doing that first. After we'll be done with taking up your all questions with your doubts and covering the missed portions or the classes in which you guys were absent, after done with that, will be the revision will start. Okay, now, and the revision will be based based on your final exam syllabus. Okay, no. So on the basis of your final exam syllabus, the revision will start, and there will be test also. Revision test will also go on.
So how the tests were before half yearly like that?
Yeah, just like you were giving the test before the half yearly, but particularly they will be live test in the batch. Okay, now we have a 1 hour class now. So for
Yes.
the format of the test in the batch will be like this. There will be a 30-minute test, and after that there will be 30-minute discussion of the test. Okay, now like you guys will be giving live test in the class, and you guys will be submitting your answers to the team. I will get your answers from them, and we'll be discussing your answers in the class only. So this is the usual format. If there's something new which I would like, we will be doing that as well. Okay, na?
Okay. Sir, the thing is, in the question answers, you make your own answers, right?
Repeat again.
Well, when we have a test, in the question answers, we make our own answers and then write it, right?
Yeah, exactly. You will be writing it in your own words. Okay.
Okay.
Also, recently I haven't received assignments from you guys, neither from you, Razan, and neither from you, Fatima. Yes. You guys are done with your exams now. You guys are
Yes.
free from your
Yes, sir.
exam.
I'll start sending from today.
Yeah. And about what about you, Razan? Yes, Razan. Okay, your exam got over today only. Okay, from tomorrow onwards, both of you stay consistent in uploading your assignments. Okay,
Okay.
so that is the case. Also, in this image, you can see here the ovary. Inside the ovary, ovule is present here. After fertilization, what happens? The ovary converts into the fruit, and ovule converts into the seed. Right inside the seed, you have the embryo. Basically, right now, embryo you can think of it as the first young plant. You can think of embryo as the young plant that is present inside the seed. Upon getting favorable
But in
conditions,
humans, twins can be born, right? So what about in plants?
in the plants, I suppose that in the case of the plants also twin plants can be formed, I suppose.
So I don't understand the concept of twins being born in plants. So can you explain it?
Okay, sure. See what can happen in the case of the plants now. Like, say for example, if the zygote that is formed, if the zygote were to split into two halves, like this, 1 minute, the zygote that will be formed over here now, as the fusion of the male and the female gametes, the zygote that will form, if it were to split into two halves, if it were to be split into two halves, so thereby two fruits will be formed in this. So that is the case of the twin plants in the case of the
Oh,
flowers. Getting it now?
okay.
So if zygote splits into two halves in the case of the plant, then two twin plants will be formed. Basically, first of all, two fruits will be formed, right? Two fruits will be formed, and the fruits will contain seeds in them, right? And both the seeds will be identical to each other. Getting it now? And the plants that will be growing from them, they will be identical to each other. So that is the case. And this and similar in the case of the humans also, in the similar manner, strains are formed. After the fertilization of the sperm and the ovum, if the zygote splits into two halves now, so thereby twins will be formed, right? Also, in certain situations, what might happen, uh, like four children are also born to some women, three children are also born to some women. So in certain situations, what might happen, the zygote can split into three parts. It can split into two parts, but it can split into three parts also. It can split into four parts also. Got this?
Sir, so it can split like
Mhm.
can you show how, like, so it splits like the in the middle?
See, it's like this. See, if this is zygote, this is a zygote, it will split. Let me draw it on a different page. Okay, over here. So this is a zygote. It will split into two parts like this. So both of them will be twins. Twins will be bond. So twins will form in this manner. Getting it now? Hope that should be clear. Like that is the basic concept here of how twins will be born. Okay. Next in the chapter, next topic which we're going to learn about is the dispersal of the seeds. Okay, now how the seed will be dispersed. This is a small topic. Let's see if we can cover this. So basically, the transportation of seed from the parent plant to different places will be called as seed dispersal. It will be called as seed dispersal, and it can occur in various ways. Some plant seeds of some plants, like for example dandelion seeds, they are very lightweight, uh, so they will be carried away by the wind. For example, this one is also very lightweight. Maple leaf, right now. So maple leaf flowers. So the seeds of the maple leaf flower, so they are also very lightweight. So they can also be carried by the wind. So they are light, they have fluffy, and they have wings. Like this maple leaf, does it not look like it has wings? No, the shape looks like it has wings. As for this seed that you're seeing here, this that is the xanthium. Okay, now it has spines on it, and it will stick to the body of the organisms. So animals will help in the dispersal of this seed. So seed dispersal is the process by which seeds are spread away from the parent plant to new locations. Okay, now a plant is growing in a certain area, but the seed of that plant will be traveling to the different place with the help of some agents, with the help of wind, water, or some animals. Take a look at this special kind of seed over here. So these seeds that you're seeing, by the way, these two seeds are of the same plant. Okay, now see how it is bursting open, how it is bursting. As a droplet of water falls on it, it's burst open. As we'll be touching this, the seed of this flower, as we'll be touching the seed of this flower, it will burst open like this. Yes, Razan.
Some leaves, when we touch them in their leaves, it closes in a handle.
Exactly. You're talking about the touch me not plant, right now. Also called as Mimosa pudica. Okay, now Mimosa pudica or the touch me not plant, right? So when you will be touching it, no, like it responds to stimuli. The touch is the stimuli for that plant. Because no, but stimuli, no? Stimulus. What is stimulus, right? So touch is the stimulus to which the leaves of the Mimosa pudica, also commonly called as touch me not plant, will be responding. Got this? So these seeds will be basically bursting open. So these are some special kind of seeds which we'll be learning in next class. Particularly as of now, just understand that seed dispersal is the process of kind of transportation of seeds from the parent plant to different places, and it will be helpful in various ways.